guys, I'm Anna.
And I'm Brian.
And we are
Those Annoying Vegans!
We had a viewer request for more Italian dishes. As you guys know, we are huge fans of soup, so what better dish to feature on this episode than a hearty, delicious minestrone soup?
And as you guys may know, traditional minestrone soup recipes often call for things like bone broth, or beef broth, or Parmesan cheese, which is just code for the breast milk from a cow, or pancetta, which is just code for the belly of a pig. So of course, you guys know, we're going to veganize it with tons of vegetables and vegetable stock and plenty of herbs and spices to deliver that classic minestrone flavor.
And as always, this recipe is delicious, affordable, and easy to make.
So let's make it!
Let's make it.
Here it is, delicious minestrone soup. Oh yeah.
Delicious and hearty, as I said.
Savory.
With the soup, we used small elbow macaroni.
Yeah.
Originally, minestrone soup recipes call for this little teeny tiny wheel pasta called ditalini pasta. If you can find that at your grocery store, use that instead. Not that we chose not to use it, we just couldn't find it at our ginormous grocery store. They had every kind of pasta except for ditalini. So we used the smallest kind of pasta we could find, which still turned out to be too big. So what happened is our soup turned into more of like a chowder.
Yeah, a minestrone chowder.
But look, you can still add more broth.
Yeah.
Or add the pasta later in the cooking process. Or add less pasta.
It balloons up pretty big if you leave it in the crock pot for too long.
So guys, this recipe fell at a very...
Poignant.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Very poignant time in our lives. Because, well, for one, this soup used to be my dad's favorite soup, minestrone. My dad had two favorite dishes, spaghetti and red sauce and minestrone. We also had a recent loss. We had to say goodbye to our eldest cat, Sweetie, yesterday, for us being Sunday. So it's been a really, really trying past few hours, and we're so sorry this episode might be a bit of a mess because it's still very fresh and it was a very, very strong experience for us. I adopted her in 2010, and shortly thereafter she developed renal failure. So she'd been living with renal failure for the past 8 years, and it was relatively well managed. But there gets to be a point where it just, everything stops working.
She lost her vision and her meow got very weak. It seemed like she was really struggling to do everything. She couldn't find the litter anymore.
And 3 weeks ago, she stopped eating.
She wasn't the cat that I remember. And I only met her 3 years ago. I know you've been with her for 8 years.
When an animal is so dependent on you for care, you get really close to them. My entire day was Sweetie, pretty much. Making sure she was okay and comfortable, and I'd be in my booth doing work, recording, and she'd be there sleeping under my feet. Then I'd come out and bring her on the couch with me. She was my best friend. She was really, really, really courageous and patient. And the last 2 days, she was not able to sleep. It was very, very hard to see that, because if anything, when a cat's in pain, they sleep, and she couldn't even sleep because I think she was getting headaches. Her blood pressure was high. And yesterday, we were up all night pretty much, and all she wanted to do was walk aimlessly, and I couldn't let her do that by herself because she'd bump into stuff and get stuck in corners and get confused.
You don't really see the progression when you're living with someone day to day. But if I were to just take a snapshot of yesterday versus the day that we moved in together, she was a very different cat.
Yeah, and one of the deals I made back when Frisky was with me and she had lymphoma was that when Frisky stops being Frisky, that's when we say goodbye. Saturday at midnight, Sunday, I was up at 3 a.m. and I told Brian, I don't think we can do this anymore. And I think I need a call. She got here and she was with her husband. And it's amazing, these people, they do this every single day. And it doesn't show. It almost looks like it's the first time. They are with you emotionally. And you can see their concern and their support for you. And that was really comforting. I will put the link for that service in our description below. First, they gave her a sedative, which, I was holding her while they gave it to her. And that's when we had some time to say our goodbyes. And then the final sedative is a little bit of an overdose. And it was very gentle. She literally just stopped breathing.
Just went to sleep. And it was really hard. I've never felt this before. I feel like we knew that she wasn't herself. She wasn't having fun. She wasn't enjoying life the way that she used to. And still it felt conflicting.
And it made us think, despite the pain and despite the discomfort that Sweetie went through, I feel like she was relatively lucky in that she was surrounded by us who loved her unconditionally and infinitely and eternally. And she was allowed that easy transition. I'd like to call it easy. I hope it was easy for her. And then we think about all these animals, billions of animals all over the world who die every single second, every single minute, every single hour for insignificant reasons, for taste, because people don't want to care. They're killed in very violent ways, and often without regard to their health issues that they may have been experiencing. Animals get headaches too. They get tummy aches. They get joint pain.
They get stressed.
They get stressed and sad.
They get scared.
And none of that matters because they're just there to fulfill a purpose. And we ask you guys, for those of you who are not yet vegan, to consider, to open your hearts and minds and to consider that there is so much more that you can do to ease suffering in this world, that you have the power to do every time you sit down to eat.
I flash back to that stupid BuzzFeed video where these people, they murder chickens just to eat them immediately afterwards, just to see what it's like, just to, hey, say I did it. How did that feel? And I can't even imagine what it would be like to work in a slaughterhouse and to have to kill animal after animal after animal after animal for...
What?
What? For bacon? For pancetta? so you can put it in a soup.
That tastes just as good without it. You know, our relationship with the weak and more vulnerable beings of this planet needs to change. Every single animal out there is a sweetie. Every single animal out there is no different than your dog or your cat or your pet that you love. Every single animal out there feels. This is going to change. We were dealing with a commenter on one of our Instagram posts who was of the mindset that the world is the way it is and the world will change when it changes. But guess what? You have to change it. The world's not going to change without you. What greater purpose in life than to make others feel good and safe and loved? These poor animals at these slaughterhouses, they don't feel loved. They get beaten and they get tired and they get sick. That's all they have is their little bodies. That's all they have is their lives. And we take that away from them for nothing. Just please consider really, really, really putting yourself in that place. Sit down and use your imagination and feel what it might feel like to be them.
I have a great daily affirmation that I took out of your calendar that I believe is still in my car, and it says, every decision that we make in this world is made out of either love or out of fear. And you can always choose love. You can always make that choice with anything in life. This experience also really made me think about the whole bearing witness thing in the vegan community. A lot of vegans, they go to slaughterhouses and they wait outside with their signs and the trucks pull in, and the only reason they do that is to bear witness to these animals in the moments before they're going to go off to slaughter. And they give them some water and they give them kisses and pets on the head and whatever they can do in those last moments to simply bear witness. And I'm here to say that if you have not bared witness to an animal dying in front of you, it's different. I'm telling you, it's different. You can conceptualize it, you can think about it, you can say, oh, I bet that's pretty hard. I had no understanding of what you went through with Frisky. I thought in my head, yeah, I know that's tough, that must have been tough. Yeah, okay, yeah, your pet died, yeah. But I'm telling you guys, it's not. It's not like that. It is so powerful and so hurtful and so real. If you're not vegan, if you're still vegetarian, you're not fully vegan, if you haven't watched slaughterhouse footage or even just footage of YouTubers bearing witness outside of a slaughterhouse with stuff that's non-graphic, please go do so. Or if you have never been to a sanctuary and you've never hugged a pig or hugged a cow or hugged a chicken or just been present with these animals, please go do so. It's so easy to just see them in commercials and see them on the internet and just go, yeah, it's a cow. It's different when you're there. And like you said, every single animal out there is a sweetie. So please open yourself to these experiences. Make that choice out of love and not out of fear.
We promise the soup is really good. We know
it's a very tasty soup.
You know, you tend to not eat a lot when you're sad, which has been happening with us. So, you know, a little bowl like this is very nutritious and can really do a lot for you. And we encourage you to make it and try it. And you can call it the sweetie soup.
Yes.
Because it is comforting and warm, like she was. And it was also comforting and warm to my dad.
Queen Tweety's Minestrone.
We want to hear about your experiences losing a pet and what that meant for you, bearing witness, whatever you'd like to talk about, we're here. I know it's gotten really hard to respond to every single one of you, but we read all the comments, believe it or not. And thank you so much to all of you for the outpouring of love on Instagram. And thank you so much to all our patrons on Patreon. You guys mean the world to us. Your donations really help us out. Come here. I know, you're being very kind.
Hi, Gracie. You always like to be in the videos. You want to come with Daddy? Is that what it is? Oh.
What are you doing? Are you being
What are you
mountain
doing up
kitty
there?
on Daddy? Mountain kitty. Mountain kitty.
What are you doing up there?
But anyways.
Yes. Gracie May was always very nice to Tweeties. she would give her lots of besos.
The only thing that relieved Sweetie these last couple of days were kisses from her on the head. She seemed to calm down when she did that. You were very helpful, Gracie May.